full-time job.
Super time-consuming, especially as your guild gets more and more involved in the game. We want to streamline that process. We want to make it easy for those guild leaders, give them the tools that they need to run their guild in-game so they don't have to spend all of their time beating their head against the wall, trying to contact people for events and doing all of the things that you do as a guild leader.
Because we want you in the war, killing people.
Absolutely.
Moving on through all of those.
To the Tome of Knowledge. This is something that you're going to get a much more in-depth presentation on later on. Jeff should probably intro.
Yeah. So let me give you a quick intro on the Tome of Knowledge. So really a scrapbook of your history within the game. It shows you things that you might be able to do. It gives you hints about places that you can go, people that you can meet, monsters that you should kill. So the tome really encompasses all of the cool stuff that you have and might be able to do within the game.
We should just show them.
Josh is going to show you. He's got a good walkthrough of this.
So, here's my little dwarf. His name's Drescher. My name's Drescher. Hi, guys. We're going to go ahead and we're going to open up his Tome of Knowledge. As Jeff said, the Tome of Knowledge really is the entire story of your character's life in the world. It keeps a personal journal for you that tells you the narrative that you're working through as you move through the game. As you move through the different parts of the game, each of the chapters, each of the racial territories has a unique and distinct chapter-driven narrative that you experience. And as you go through, it gives you information for the completion of different things like quests and so forth, but it also gives you the background, the flavor. It evokes the world that has been built over 25 years by all of the different parts of Warhammer. So if you're the kind of player that really thrives on role-playing, that really thrives on feeling like it's a vibrant, fully realized world, the Tome of Knowledge gives you that extra step. Obviously, you can track your quests and things like that, and you know I have to go out and do the following 6 things to accomplish a quest, but why? What's the story behind it? What's the reason behind it? What's the motivation, the character, the emotion, the essence? The Tome gives you all of that. And that builds, as I said, through all 6 of the areas of the world, different narratives and so forth. And then, again, it tracks your individual quests. It goes down and it keeps track of, because from time to time, you're going to wind up with a bunch of them. You might have 10, 15, 20 quests that you built out, because there are thousands of them in the world. And you might only want to have a few of them on the screen at a time. The Tome of Knowledge gives you the ability to track quests and to hide certain other quests so that you can only go, tonight, I really only have time for these 4. I'm going to run through, I'm going to play through those, and then I'll toggle more on and off over time. And it also allows you to go back and remember, why am I going out and doing this? Oh yeah, there's a big, long narrative. And then achievements are really one of the interesting components of it. This is so many things that Carrie's going to have to touch on in greater detail. I'm going to try and not step on any of her excellent presentations, but it'll be things like the survival achievement, where I've actually been killed by Jeff, or monsters, or whatever, 10,000 times, but I keep getting back up and punching. And so I get rewarded for literally things as simple as dying. I get rewarded for actually going out and looting corpses, for going out and picking things up. Everything you do in the world really sort of builds your character, and the Tome fleshes that out for you. And so you have all sorts of different things, and I'm not looking at the screen. That's, back to that thing. Sorry, it's my video, I'm doing it wrong. And you'll have wacky things, and Carrie will actually be showing you a bunch of wacky things, like clicking on yourself 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times will cause different things to happen. She's got a bunch of these, and I'm trying not to ruin them, because we're using the same things twice. And then it'll also allow sort of different things in the world that you'll be experiencing over time. Stories that build over time, things that you're completing, different components of it over the entire life of your character. So these are narrative events that are continuing in sort of the broad spectrum of your experience. It also has a bestiary that tracks all of the monsters that you kill, all of the things that you find. It'll tell you things like, you've killed 1,000 orcs. It'll tell you that you've died 100 times to Jeff Hickman's Witch Hunter. It'll tell you all the different things that will happen too. And it also allows you to unlock things like tome tactics, additional things that will build your character up, make it more powerful in combat, make it more significant in the world. There's a lot of stuff we can talk about. We could do 2 hours on the tome, but Jeff doesn't want me to do that.
Yeah, so the tome is not just a bunch of unlocks. It's not just your history. It's not just what you can do and what you have done. It's also an achievement system. If you think of Xbox 360 achievements, where you're getting rewarded for the things that you do, the tome does that for you. As Josh mentioned, it's things like getting some XP for discovering things. But it's also new titles. It's actually new abilities that make your character better at doing things within the game, just from unlocking them within the tome. So it is a wrapper around everything that we do in the game.
Absolutely.
Whee! Differentiation. So, one of the things that we've learned from beta, and we've learned from Dark Age of Camelot, is that players really like to be different. They like to look different, and they like to play different. So, I'm going to go into a little bit of detail on this with Josh. Adam Dershowitz has a great presentation for you guys this afternoon. I don't want to step on his toes too much. But there's really two major pieces of differentiation. There's the look, and there's the play. The look, we've got so many things that we've done. We've talked about a lot, just as far as a dyeing system, a tinting system within the game, trophies, all of the different various types of armor and weapons that you can find. We have unbelievable look. What I want to talk about right now is I want to talk about playability differentiation. The things that make you feel different as you play your character. So let me boggle your mind with numbers for just a minute. So when you start the game as a player, the very first thing that you do is you have to pick a side. You have to pick order or destruction, the good guys or the bad guys. So what that means is you make your first choice. And then the next thing you do is you pick a race. You pick high elves, dark elves, greenskins, dwarves, empire, or chaos. Beyond that, you're picking one of 4 classes out of each of these races. These 4 classes all fit into a couple of different categories. So they might be a tank, a melee DPS guy, a ranged DPS guy, a healer type damage dealer. Each one of these guys, so you might play a chosen or a black orc. These are both tanks, but they play completely differently from each other. They achieve the same purpose, they achieve the same goals, just in a different way. So you might like playing a black orc because he fits your play style, and maybe you don't like playing a chosen quite so much. Yet they're both tanks.
The Black Orc's really physical. He's all about hunkering down in front of a shaman when the danger gets too close, hitting the shaman in the face, bouncing him out of danger.
Absolutely.
Chosen's a battlefield commander, sort of moves around at the front lines, offers sort of pulsing auras that offer specific benefits or detriments to enemy players and things of that sort. This traditional sort of twisting mechanic that you've seen in some other types of games.
Right.
And every single one of the archetypes, though significant and goal-driven, each of the careers satisfies that, as Jeff said, in a different way. There are 24 unique careers in the game.
Right.
And then
So-
that's not even counting for the tactic system, the morale system.
Absolutely. So beyond that, in beta, one of the things that the players really wanted is they wanted each career to have some differences within itself. So we have a system called the mastery system. 3 different mastery paths that you can go down in each class for a total of 72 different ways.
And then within that, you've got the 72 distinct paths, and then you can actually hybridize between them.
Absolutely.
Because you actually get more points than you can spend in one entire path. So you actually have hundreds and hundreds of different mechanisms for playing the game.
Right. That's
And it also creates a vocabulary.
It makes my brain explode.
To explain why we had to implement this, we went to the beta testers and they said, you know, I actually do have the ability to create a distinct play style for myself. I can use the tactic system to really push myself in one direction or another. If I'm a warrior priest, I can use tactics to enhance my healing ability for one session, to enhance my damage output for another, but it's tough to explain that to other players. There was no vocabulary for explaining how is Jeff's character tricked out today.
Right.
The mastery systems create that vocabulary. I can explain, well, I've actually spec'd down this specific path. I've really gone heavy on the healing component of what I do. And as a result, you know what that means from another